the January 28th meeting of the Undergraduate Student Senate at 6:33 p.m. First up on our agenda is public comment. At this time, are there any members of the public who would like to speak? Okay, seeing none, we will move into our reports, and we will start with Caroline in Academic Affairs.
Hey everybody. I hope you guys all had a great break and an even better little 4-day weekend action. Academic Affairs is officially back for the semester, and we're meeting tomorrow from 6 to 7 p.m. in Student Union 324. In our meeting, we're discussing the results of our school supplies fair as well as upcoming collaborations for the semester. For school supplies, we hosted our school supplies giveaway event last Wednesday, and we were able to successfully provide supplies for over 325 students, which is really exciting. And I just wanted to thank everyone who helped make the event possible and who helped distribute all the supplies to the students. Thank you so much. For upcoming collaborations, this over break, I began working on a collaboration with Student Services to host a financial literacy event in response to new legislation regarding the availability of student loans for students looking to pursue grad school. And I hope to have more details on this in the following week, so stay tuned for that. For the ESL workshops, my Deputy Director Isa has been working hard on planning workshops for ESL students to ensure that they're able to access university materials effectively and are able to participate in professional and leadership opportunities. We're currently setting up meetings with interested faculty and university orgs, so I'll also have more updates on that hopefully in the future. With Sensory Room, I have been getting some questions and messages regarding academic affairs and our continued involvement with the university and our Sensory Room project, which is currently still looking to expand to the satellite campuses. I'm still in communication with admin on the project, so we're still working on that. And finally, it is that time of the semester where the Husky Book Bundle is working to provide all students who are opted in with textbooks and academic materials for your classes. This program is something that Academic Affairs discusses extensively, so if you have any feedback or any concerns, please come to me after Senate or message me or come to committee tomorrow and we can chat about it. Please remember that all undergrad students have until the 10th day of class to decide whether or not they want to stay involved in the program, which I believe is next Monday, if they don't count the snow days. So please stay on the lookout for that. Thanks.
Are there any questions for Caroline? All right, next up is External Affairs. The floor is yours.
Hi everyone. I have a long list, so prepare yourself. But there's been a lot going on. First of all, as we know, External has not met yet, thanks to the snow. So we will be meeting next Tuesday, 7 p.m. SU 324, same time and place as last semester. So starting with professional clothing closet, in the agenda for the External Affairs report, I linked a presentation that kind of summarized our data from the fall. Thank you, Bailey and Molly. They put this together. So our first pop-up for this semester is TBD. They are working on finalizing our new space in Wilbur Cross. So hopefully in the next few weeks we can get our first pop-up going. I'm looking to have at least 5 this semester, but I'll keep everyone updated. At least it gives us a little more time to move into the space, get a new shipment from Goodwill, all of that. We are also working to collect faculty and staff donations throughout the semester so we can constantly have some new stuff coming to the clothing closet. And we're also working with the Grad Student Senate to try to get graduate students involved. So there will also be more on that once we finalize some stuff with them. And we will also be discussing designs in future committee meetings for paper bags for students to put their clothes in, because as we've talked about multiple times, everyone puts they want bags in the survey responses. So if anyone's interested in that, keep your eye out on Slack for when we're going to be discussing that in External. As for off-campus housing survey, we got about 130 responses, which I've been told is actually pretty impressive. Students usually don't like taking surveys, so we're still looking to increase that number by a lot. So we are setting up some tabling dates throughout the semester where we will be tabling with various food in the student union, trying to talk to students to provide them off-campus housing resources, as well as try to get them to take the survey. So for those in the Senate class, really good programming credit opportunity, so keep your eye out. And then we are meeting with Fonnie and John Armstrong this Friday to discuss the survey results so far, where we want to go from there. And we might also meet with May Flexer and Greg Haddad to see what they can do in terms of student advocacy. As for the upcoming appropriations hearing, so every year the Appropriations Committee presents the governor's proposed state budget, and beginning February 4th, there's public hearings where they will hear testimonies regarding the proposed budget. After these hearings, the committee creates its own budget proposals based on what they've heard. So UConn students have the opportunity to speak at these hearings on February 19th, where UConn will have 4 panels of chosen students across our campuses to give testimonies to try and get more money invested in UConn. So GovBoard has been working to help identify students to speak at this, as well as turn this into a civic engagement opportunity to educate the student body on how the Appropriations Committee works and the significance of these hearings. So we're hoping to bring a small bus of students interested in observing this hearing and tour the Capitol, as well as maintain a strong presence in the room during this hearing. Currently, we are also starting to work on an alumni networking event, so I'm working with Phoenix in her office to help students connect with alumni with similar identities and careers. So this is going to hopefully have both an in-person and an online component, so we're hoping to create a sustained online platform where you can always connect with alumni, and we're also hoping to do a month-long initiative. We're looking at April, but it's once again to be determined, where we do something like Alumni Mondays, but we're still discussing the logistics. And then finally, at our last caucus/Senate, we kind of discussed jobs in USG if anyone was interested. So just to give everyone a little bit of the timeline. So if anyone is interested in external specifically, please feel free to reach out to me, Kira, Bailey, and Molly. So the timeline is directors are typically hired once the electeds are chosen, so end of the semester. So if anyone was interested in those roles, that's kind of the timeline you're at. Deputies are usually over the summer, and then for external specifically, coordinators are usually also the summer after the deputies. So please feel free to reach out if you're interested or just want to learn more about the roles. Does anyone have any questions about my report? That was a lot.
Thanks, Liv. Next up is Student Services, and we will have Dennis today.
Hi guys, my name is Dennis. I'm the Deputy Director and I'm doing the speech for JIB today. So Jabril and I have been working over break to ensure we have a great semester. So we've been in discussions with Andy Kelly from Facilities to set up a new program where students can give donations of food and toiletries in exchange for paying off their parking tickets. So hopefully that will pay off very well. And JIB has been meeting with SUOG and we're planning a mental health self-care event for the last week of class that we're excited for. And he is also in the process of gathering more information on the university's launch free menstrual product dispensers, as there has been delay with that. And additionally, he went over usage trends of our partnership with Shaw for Free Plan B to see how we may be able to improve in our future years. So we've also been looking into our next 2 cooking classes, which as of right now, we will do more in-person classes as opposed to the take-home. And we'll try and do a taco bar event and a ramen bar event. We had our hygiene event earlier today and it was a really big success and we got a lot of good feedback and over 340 people signed into our event. We are preparing for the next one in a few weeks where we'll have more of a focus on menstrual products, which will hopefully provide more access. And additionally, I've been in conversations for a financial literacy event in collaboration with Academic Affairs. So our committee will start regularly meeting again on Thursdays starting February 5th and we're super excited to welcome everyone back. Thank you. Is there any questions?
Thanks. Next up is the Chief Justice Report. Ella unfortunately is not feeling well today and could not be here. But the 2 big things that she has been working on are number 1, filling a vacancy in the judiciary, which was created by a justice graduating early this past fall. So that is just at the end stages. We should hopefully have a nominee for confirmation at our next Senate in 2 weeks. The other big thing, as you all know, is that our spring election season is upon us. So our president and VP who run the ticket, comptroller and chief diversity officer positions are all up for election, as well as all academic Senate seats and multicultural and diversity Senate seats. So if you are an academic or multicultural and diversity senator, and you would like to stay a senator past this spring, you will have to run for re-election. The intent to run form is due February 9th, and will be later on in the agenda. The election packet contains all of the rules for campaigning. Big one that I want to stress right now is that campaigning is not permitted in USG spaces, which includes this meeting, any committee meetings, as well as digital spaces such as our Slack. So please be conscious of that if you are running or speaking with someone who you know is a candidate. Other than that, best of luck to all candidates. And if you have any questions, please reach out to Ella Shahar, our Elections Oversight Commissioner, or I'm happy to do my best at the end of this meeting. Does anybody have any questions? Okay. Next up is my report. So over winter break, I was doing a couple of big things. The first was hiring Alyssa as our deputy speaker. I'm very excited to have her on the leadership team. The second thing was planning out our senates and caucuses for the spring semester. Have a lot of exciting guests that we are trying to fit in, and looking forward to a great semester. Finally, I have been working on our mentorship program, which we will be announcing today. So very excited about that, and more details to come. Does anybody have any questions for me? All right, we will move on to Billy.
Hello. Okay, great. Hi, everybody. Unfortunately, I don't have anything typed tonight. It's been a bit of a busy day. But just a few updates from my office. We're working on some fairly important PRs, one of which you'll hear about tonight. We're collaborating with the external office as well as with the CDO's office to fund some travel as well as fund some really cool initiatives that are happening later in the spring. So that's been pretty ongoing. I've also been working on a few budget amendments that you'll hear about tonight. Just to summarize those, you'll hear about it later as well, but we've moved some things around in the external office. We've combined 2 line items in the CDO's office, and we've created a new line item just as a catch-all in the event that an initiative that Andy and Harith have been working on is able to be implemented this spring. So that's really exciting. And then also, an email went out earlier this week or last week to Tier 2 leaders via the Student Activities Office. We've officially surpassed $800,000 in Tier 2 club funding. So we have cut off the funding travel category. We gave proper notice to RSOs. We haven't gotten too many issues about it just yet, which is good. But yeah, so we have about $200,000 left in Tier 2 funding. Our staff is working very diligently to preserve that funding, but also get it passed in a timely manner for clubs that are eligible. But yeah, so if you have any other questions, feel free to let me know.
Any questions for Billy before we move on? All right, next up is Phoenix.
Hey Senators, I hope you all are doing well. I actually have quite a few updates that I'm happy to share. For starters, I want to thank all of you that filled out the internal climate assessment form. It's just a crucial form that our office has started to implement to see how senators and other employees and members of the Gov Board and Judiciary are feeling about USG. It's just something I think it's important, right? How people perceive our organization starts from within, and we want to make sure that everyone's satisfied with the organization, feels welcome, and also really open to constructive criticism and feedback. So we have reviewed those results, and we're actively working to implement many of the suggestions that were made there. If anyone has not filled it out yet and wants to go in and fill it out, you feel free to do that. We're still in the process of reviewing it, so we'll see anything that you submit. The form is still open to fill out. But we definitely appreciate that feedback, and again, this is just going to be used to continue to develop our organization, implement certain aspects in leadership training, and also just, again, like things that we may need to invest in to create a better overall experience for all the members of USG. Our Black History Month opening event with the ACC is happening on Wednesday, February 4th, next week. Keynote speaker Lene Vinay was coming in. There's going to be a banquet. That flyer is posted on our page. and it comes with a meal, so you can eat, and there are dietary restrictions included as well when you register. So if you're interested in attending that, please do. It's open to all undergraduate students. The Jet Dental Pop-Up Clinic is going pretty well. Diversity and Outreach Commission passed the money this past Wednesday, so the Wednesday before this one. And Anna and I, my deputy, are actively working to solidify all of the logistics and get a flyer up soon so that we can start tabling early and students can start booking appointments prior to the day of or prior to the week before. This is just to, again, because we're doing 3 days. We want to make sure students know about it. We want to make sure it's accessible. We want to give more students the opportunity to get that restorative and preventative care free of charge. Also, we've been receiving a lot of questions about the incident report form, where it can be found. It's in our website under the resources tab, and it is also located in the link tree on the USG Instagram. Also, just a reminder that incident report form is used specifically to report incidents that occur within USG spaces or amongst USG groups and relations. So anything that is done outside of USG spaces when submitted an incident report is not admissible for investigation, just to clarify. Receiving a lot of questions about that. For Women's History Month, we're doing our Her Story in Motion series again this year, and we will have a women's healthcare package distribution and panel. We'll also be having a self-defense course that Serena is heading, our Title IX coordinator. And are also in the works of working with Women's Center to put together an MOU and potentially host an event with them. And then lastly, the Anti-Black Racism Task Force that I've been serving on, just for anyone that wanted any updates. We're currently in the process of kind of overviewing the history, talking about funding. Just to specify, USG is not taking any particular stance, but they are encouraging students to reach out if you're interested in the topic or interested in learning more exactly about what the Anti-Black Racism Course is and what University Senate is discussing in terms of that. They also really value the student input, given that we're the ones that would be taking the course that was put into action. So if anyone is interested in that and wants more details on that, feel free to reach out to me or the University Center that is heading the committee, whose contact information I can share with Kyle. I don't have the email off the top of my head. But yeah, that is all I have for my report.
Any questions? I'll also add that the incident report form is below the signature for any listserv emails, so the emails where I announce the Senate meetings, as well as I believe committees, if you need to find that. Haritha is not here, so her chief of staff, Cam, will be getting her report now.
Hi guys. Okay, yeah. So Haritha couldn't be here today. She wanted to extend her apologies. She has a required class at this time. But over the past several weeks, she's been working closely with government relations and external affairs to prepare for the appropriations budget hearing that was mentioned earlier, alongside a civic education initiative for students. She's currently looking to partner with government relations to research any bills that have been brought up in session that feature issues of interest for students, so we can appropriately address it and maybe even speak at a public hearing about it. Additionally, she's looking to wrap up ongoing projects from the previous semester, including the Uber partnership that we've had been in the works for a little while now, and as well as some version of the legal services project that we've been working on. We're currently looking at a joint event with CT Students for a Dream, which is a nonprofit that helps undocumented students in Connecticut. So we're working on that. She's also working on planning the annual banquet that is hosted for USG members, where we will be handing out graduation stoles. You'll also hear about that at the end of our meeting today. It's also posted in the Slack, so the form is there. If you have any questions, please let me know. She's also been collaborating with the Hindu Student Association and Senator Tanya Sinha to plan the official opening and inauguration of the new Hindu prayer space on campus, which is set for February 15th. Looking forward, she's finalizing times for a consistent transportation committee meeting in partnership with the Yukon Department of Transportation, who she met with in December to discuss issues surrounding parking, bus routes, availability, and issues with the Passio Go app. You already heard from Venice earlier about the new donations for parking tickets program that they're working on, and she's also going to be having She's also working on another meeting with the Connecticut Student Association for early February so that we can continue collaborating with college students across the state. And that is all.
Any questions for Cam? All right, thanks, Cam. Last up is Annie.
Guys, Tanya's in the back. Shout out Tanya. She's helping a lot with the prayer space. Yeah, we're opening on the 15th. It'll be in Arjona. We're playing on the day. It'll be a lot of fun. There'll be a lot of events, and you guys can come in and check it out. We'll post it on Instagram. It'll be the prayer space post, and it'll be very fun. For what I've been up to for the past few weeks, a lot of it has been honestly, I don't know, a lot of it has been a lot of administrative and logistical work. On the logistical side of it, a lot of it is still trying to work with the banquet, trying to make sure that that stuff is all done in a timely manner. We're also going to try and make, every year at the banquet, we also do commendations and also awards. And so in addition to the awards we usually do, we're also thinking of hopefully maybe doing some more fun awards and maybe something a little bit more, creating some more fun categories. So we're going to brainstorm and come up with some more ideas for those. In terms of advocacy and also what other initiatives we have left, we currently are trying to figure out how we're going to spend out the rest of our budgets and our line items. And so I think right now we have some exciting things planned for the rest of our comms team's budget. We're going to spend the rest of that on getting some USG branded merch in sweatpants and sweaters, and we're going to be giving those away at events. We're also going to be trying to figure out different ways that we can spend the rest of how we might move other budgets around, because I think that we currently have a certain amount of money spent aside for legal services. We have a certain amount of money spent aside for Uber. Well, hopefully we'll have that money spent aside for Uber. And so we might need to change things around depending on how things work out. The other thing that I would mention, the last thing I think I would just mention is that I know that Kyle had mentioned already that elections are coming up. I know it can seem like a daunting task or a daunting feat, so if anyone has any questions or if they want to ask me anything about what it's like to campaign, elections, or any of that kind of stuff, I'm happy to talk through it with anyone. And that's it.
Any questions for Angie? All right, we'll now move into our voting items. First up, we have the approval of the minutes from December 3rd. Does anybody have any questions, comments, points of discussion on these minutes? All right, seeing none, I will move that they be approved by unanimous consent. Are there any objections? All right, and then next up is the approval of the minutes from our mini Senate last week on January 21st. Any questions, comments, points of discussion? Okay, I will move that these also be accepted by unanimous consent. Are there any objections? These minutes pass. Next up, we have the confirmation of Ryan Zexera to the position of Undoubtedly Husky's ex officio senator. This seat has been open for a while, since Hashem, our last Undoubtedly Husky's ex officio senator, graduated. But Ryan is very excited to be stepping into the role. Are there any questions or points of discussion on this nomination? Okay, I will move that Ryan is confirmed by unanimous consent. Are there any objections? Congratulations, Ryan. And next up is the approval of the USG supplemental org chart. I'll give everyone a second to scan that, and I will turn it over to Billy.
Okay, everybody, I'm going to keep this really quick and easy and simple. Do you remember when we did batch payroll back in like December and we changed all the wages? We didn't change the supplemental org chart to include those wages, so now it has the new wages.
Generous with the applause today. Does anybody have any questions? Points of discussion? Okay, we'll move into a hand vote here. All those in favor, please raise your hands. All those opposed? Abstentions? That passes 22-023. Okay, for voting items E, F, and G, I am going to yield the chair and turn it over to Alyssa.
Hi everyone, if you're having a good evening. Our next voting item is the approval of the USG final programmatic budget, and I will invite Billy to visit this again.
All right, so over winter break, I reached out to GovBoard to ask them if they wanted anything changed for their budget for the spring semester. And we're essentially making 3 changes, pretty simple changes. To start off, the Uber partnership line item under the Office of the President is a new one. We over budgeted for the Nutmeg yearbook and the IT support line items in my office's budget breakdown. So we took $10,000 of like extra money that was left over from both of those line items, and we made that into the Uber partnership line item, just as like we're still working on it, we're hoping that we're gonna be able to spend it, and we just wanted to have a place for it so that in the event that it does come to fruition, we're able to quickly just pass it at a meeting. So that's the first one, which for the operating budget, we just moved some stuff over from those expense codes into the 615-2 expense code, which you'll see for the next voting item. And then the next one, pretty simple, the CDO office budget is now just one line item. It was originally $75,000 for outreach events and collaborations, and then an additional line item for the cultural fair, I believe. Yeah. So we just combined that to be just one line item, $78,500, because the cultural centers are not going to be doing that this year with USG's help. So we're going to be doing just one big bulk line item for Phoenix, which is where that comes from. And then the final line item changes is under external. Could you scroll down for me just a little bit? Thank you so much. We took $1,000 from community engagement and moved it over to the clothing closet line item because we need to potentially buy more racks and hangers and whatnot. Correct me if I'm wrong. Great. And bags. So that is the programmatic changes, and then we moved expense codes and whatnot to match those things. I just subtracted from the original line items and moved it into the correct expense code. So that's why we're also voting on the operating budget again tonight.
Any questions? Any point? Oh.
Where would the funds be reallocated if the Uber partnership does not come to fruition?
1%. Okay. I said, where would the Uber partnership funds be reallocated if it's not, like if the Uber partnership does not come to fruition?
They could either be rolled over into the next fiscal year, or we can add it to something else. I'm open to options. I'll probably meet with people, take suggestions from you all. We can move that stuff around very easily. Yeah.
Any points of discussion? Okay, we'll do a hand vote, so all those in favor? All those opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, so 28 to 0 to 7. So that passes with that. So our next voting item is the approval of the USG final operating budget. And, oh wait. Yeah, and I'll also pass that to Billy.
Thank you. Okay, so just to reiterate, I say this every time, but it's worth mentioning again. The 2 budgets that we have, it's the same pot of money, it's just broken down in 2 separate ways. So when I move some of the line items around in the programmatic budget, I have to inevitably do that in the operating budget as well. For example, external affairs line items, if I take $1,000 from community engagement and move it into clothing closet, community engagement is, I believe, a contractual services expense code, and clothing closet would be equipment and supplies. So I have to kind of shift things around in the operating budget to make those changes make sense. So that's what happened here. So the break, I don't know why it looks like that. That is really weird. Great. Oh, okay. Never mind. Okay. Well, anyway, if you have any questions about it, it mirrors the programmatic budget. The subtotal at the bottom that is like what's left over in expenditures is identical. As long as they're identical, then I know I did my math right. So yeah.
Any questions?
Smith for the minutes. I'm so sorry, Billy, because this is a programmatic budget line item and I'm asking this on the operating budget. But do we have any updates on the Holly Armory budget line item?
That's a great question. No, I know that we're gonna end up paying for it. I'm just waiting on the invoice from student activities. I've not spoken to Trisha yet about spring semester. My prerogative is that we don't pay for it. I'm gonna fight for the fact that USG does not contribute more than $20,000 to Holly Armory this year. But yeah, so the $20,000 is just for the fall semester. I have not heard about it yet. Eventually, usually what happened last year was we ended up paying for it the following fiscal year. If you remember way back in like August or September, we ended up paying for it. So it'll happen eventually, but I'm gonna fight for the fact that we don't pay anything for the spring.
Thank you.
Any points of discussion? Okay. So we'll do a hand vote. All those in favor? Okay. All those opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. So that passes with 28 to 0 to 3. So our next voting item is motion to disperse $3,000 from the External Affairs Community Engagement line item for bus transportation to the Connecticut State Capitol for the Appropriations Committee hearing, and I'll pass that to Olivia to present.
Is it working? Okay, cool. I touched on this previously in my really long director's report. Basically, so with the appropriations hearing coming up, basically every year USG tries to get students to go to this hearing. It's really good to have a presence in the room when basically asking the committee for more money for UConn. So the idea behind this is we're approaching this with kind of a civic engagement idea behind it. So we're gonna go up a little early so that we can tour the Capitol and, you know, learn about what the Appropriations Committee is, what they're doing, why we care. Obviously, the main reason we care is it's always great for UConn to get more money so we can support a lot of the programs we have going on here. So we want to get one bus for the day of the hearing. The main reason for this bus is, as I stated previously, we do have multiple panels of student speakers. So for those from STORE's campus, it's transportation for them because last year we tried a carpooling thing. It gets a little messy. You have strangers getting in each other's cars. That's not always great. So just have everyone on one bus together that leaves here at the same time and then leaves there at the same time. Everyone's together. And then we are also going to try to promote some educational materials on what this is, and we're also going to open this to the public, meaning the undergraduate students at STORE's, so that anyone interested in going and wants to learn more and tour the Capitol can sign up, and they can also join us on the bus so that they can get a tour of the Capitol and sit in on the hearing to see how it operates. So I will take any questions. I know not everyone really knows what the appropriations hearing is. If you've been here before, we usually try to get a small group there every year. We really just want to help people learn about what it is and create a presence in the room to kind of sway the committee a little bit. Yes.
I'm sorry, can you just clarify, is this USG's budget or is this some other university budget?
Oh yeah, this is the UConn, like overall, like the university. Yeah, so it's the governor's proposed budget, like for state funding. So we go, so it opens February 4th, and they do public hearings all through, I believe, like May. 6th or something like that. So February 19th is the day they hear from the state schools, including UConn. So we won't be the only ones there, but we usually have a pretty good presence. I mean, we have 4 panels and then UConn Health gets 1. So it's just for overall UConn funding.
Wait, the committee is, or like the appropriations committee is for overall funding, or
Yeah,
the
so-
$3,000
sorry.
is from the UConn General Fund?
This is coming from the external affairs line item. So the bus is being paid for by the external affairs USG line item, but we're going to advocate for all of UConn funding. Just because transportation last year got messy and we want to try to educate people. Andrew.
I probably could have asked this like after, but just to clarify, is there any like kind of, I think like the word is like preference, like for any one of us to go? Because like you said it's one bus that's gonna open up to all undergrads. Would we get like any type of preference?
No, I think that it will open all at once. We'll probably announce it because we'll be posting it on the Instagram and whatever other platforms along with the sign up. You'll probably also see a Slack message about when it's coming up. So maybe we'll even do the educational post first and then we'll say, okay, the sign up is this date. So I think the bus had, Billy, how many seats does the bus have?
So we're still in communication, I believe, right, Cam, with our representative at DATCO on whether or not we're going to get a school bus or like an official coach bus, right? Or is it just an official coach bus?
There's no school buses during weekdays.
Okay.
Rented, so I believe it would be a coach bus.
Okay. It's about like 50 something, right?
I believe it would be like 44.
Okay. I also, another clarifying point, we're dispersing $3,000. It likely will not cost $3,000. What DATCO does when they provide us a booking is they put a lot of like buffers and whatnot on the quote details. So we're dispersing this amount of money to cover any like glaring issues or the buffers or whatnot. It's not gonna cost $3,000. It will cost probably significantly less than that.
I hope that helps. Also, I know 44 doesn't sound like a lot. We're trying to make it so that as many students that want to go and learn about this can, because also some of the panelists, like, for example, like if I go, I'm willing to drive myself, but the bus is trying to make it so that obviously panelists that don't have a ride, they can take the bus, but also the bus is an option for anyone that wants to just go see the hearing, how it works, get to see the Capitol. So, you know, it's kind of a 2-for-1 event. We're going to speak at the hearing, but also just in general learn more about what Appropriations Committee even is. Anything else?
Any points of discussion? Okay, we'll do a hand vote then. All those in favor? All those opposed? Abstentions? Okay, 27 to 0 to 3, so that passes as well. I'll pass it back to Kyle.
I'm gonna hand for Alyssa. All right, we don't have any discussion items on our agenda today, but we do have a few announcements. The first up is that we are launching our Senator Mentorship and Networking Program. This is an opportunity for all of you to connect with some members of USG leadership in a more one-on-one casual setting. And the structure is designed to be kind of what you want it to be, whether that's, you know, you get coffee one time, or you have a job shadowing meeting, or something more regular. There are a bunch of great mentors that will take you directly to the list of everyone who is participating on the mentor end. And then there is a sign-up form link there. We really want this to be an opportunity to connect and get to know each other, so please, please, please sign up. If you have any questions about that, you can come see me after the meeting. Next up is, like we discussed, our intent to run for all positions, so President, VP, Comptroller, and CDO, as well as Academic and Multicultural and Diversity Senator, is due February 9th. That QR code will take you there. The packet has also been sent out in the Slack. Next up is graduation stalls. Cam, would you like to discuss graduation stalls?
Hi again.
So yeah, graduation stoles are open to all graduating seniors, as long as you were a part of USG for at least one academic year. And yeah, if you fill out the form, try and do it before the end of February, just because we have ordering and the designs have to get finalized and whatnot. The idea is that we will give out the stoles at the banquet at the end of the year, but if anybody can't go to that, we'll open an opportunity for you to pick it up in the office after the fact as well. And if you have any questions, just feel free to let me know.
Thanks, Cam. One last schedule announcement is if you are signed up to be in the Senate class, please keep your eye on the email for how to officially enroll. As soon as the professor adds you to the list of approved students, you'll be able to do that. And ad drop does close this coming Monday, so we will try to handle that as soon as possible. If you have any questions, please direct them to Alyssa. And I will call to close at 7:14 p.m. Have a great night, everyone. Stay warm. Grab some pizza on the way out.
Thanks for saying that out loud, right?
Hi, one last time, if you guys don't have like, your name tags and anything like that, you would like one, I'm making a list of a few people who don't have one, so just feel free to send it to me. Or shoot me a message.